Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is G. You're watching Allastrology, and this is your December full moon 2025, the last full moon of the year. December 4th, right at the beginning of the month. Full moons are usually about an ending or a release of some sort, a finishing of a cycle. They do represent our emotions and the culmination of emotions. It is a full moon in Gemini energy, and it's at 13 degrees. Now, 13, that number has meaning, just like all the numbers do. So we're going to get into that. But it's important to remember with the full moon energy, along with the release and the ending and the closure, even like, okay, I finished the book, I'm done with it. So this is a cycle, and it's going to be an ending with all the Gemini keywords, which is about learning, talking, writing, communication, teaching, even. How about social media? Yeah. And that's why we got Mercury up there. Mercury is the ruler of this full moon. So we're going to check out where Mercury is in the chart, because that will give us some more information about, well, what are we releasing? But before we get to the Mercury, that 13, that number 13, is going to be more about initiating energy, starting something, even leading something. It can be very feisty energy, even. So we think of business, because Gemini is like the markets and the business, like the stock market. And it's also like your local community, where you live, your neighbors, your coworkers, siblings, peers. That's Gemini energy, cousins. It's people that are, that are surrounding you, that you're familiar with. For me, housemates, right, along with neighbors. So communication, talking with somebody, talking with those people, being in my neighborhood. Usually Gemini is very busy. It's like the social butterfly. So possibly definitely doing some of that, right? Because people tend to be indoors more. I know that when winter comes, we usually pick up more subscribers. There's usually more viewers in those months, because during the summer months, people are really busy and initiating and starting. But it's also very pioneer energy, can be very feisty energy. So it can be feisty communication style. So if you got a full moon, are we ending the feisty communication style? Because think of our mind, right? When you think of Gemini and that Mercury energy, ooh, that would be nice to stop the feuding, to stop the fighting, especially those brave online warriors who always jump in and have something to say. And they, yeah, usually don't know what the hell they're talking about. So we think of the assertive forms of communication, especially online, but also possibly this affecting the markets too, because it's Gemini, right? And social media and all the social sites and stuff like that. Possibly even a leader, like some lead communication style, or leader in terms of aggressive communicators, very forward and bold communicators, because it's Aries and Mars energy, in your face, very passionate, but at the same time, leaping without looking, right? Acting without thinking. Just they have a very short wick, easily angered, very impatient, very frustrated type of energy is the Martian energy. Usually you need to just, go walk or go fight and box in a boxing ring, or do something to get that kind of energy out, something healthy. So with this ending, I'm praying it's the end of combative communications, right? Possibly. We'll see. Again, this can have something to do with business and business leaders, or business, even companies, because let's go check out Mercury now. We're going to swing down here. Yeah, there's a lot of other things going on in this chart, but for right now, we're going to take a look at Mercury. We have Mercury at the business degree. This is the corporation degree, and it's in Scorpio, of shared values. Our money, our finances, our shared risks. So we think insurances even, but taxes and tariffs. Yeah, this is that. And 22 degrees is my long-term financial security. So this Mercury is dialed in to this full moon, this ending. The rules, the order, the structure, whatever the rules, order, and structure were for all this Scorpio stuff. So could this be an end to the insanity of the tariff stuff going on? Could there be a reversal? Could there be a change? Because all it takes is for the man at the top, who's a very just seems to be in a very independent solo mode, and that would also be Mars energy. Mars is all about freedoms, so that's something I would have to mention here. An end to what? An end to freedom, freedom of communication, freedom of speech. That's a possibility with this mixture. But this definitely looks more about business because it's corporations, it's government kind of energy. It's very structured. It's about long-term material financial security. It's like, what are we building, right? So we think gold and silver and fossil fuels, basically, is Scorpio energy, our natural resources. Yeah. And there's a connection, a direct connection between this energy, this Mercury, this corporate energy, this shared value, this old money energy. There's a deep connection with the government. It's just there because this Mercury's at 22 and Jupiter over here at 24. Mercury and Jupiter in a nice trine. We think of judges and, of course, government with Jupiter. And then the people and the public. 24 degrees government energy. You follow. I'd like to give you the explanation of how I'm getting what I'm getting and why I'm saying it. I want to show you how I got there. But homes and housing, the emotions, feminine energy, emotional security, emotional stability, even. Very strong energy when Mercury connects with Jupiter. It feels strengthened in some way. And Jupiter is about justice and is about freedoms, big time. That's Jupiter in general. Equality for all, all that stuff that we ideally cling to and we strive for, even though many times it's really messy and we don't feel like we have any of that. It's the striving for it. It's the hope. We're working towards that. So our future of democracy, right? This is all part of this. This is all a big part of this. And the connection doesn't escape me, Mars and Mercury at 22. This has everything to do with the rules, the structure, and the order, and a goal for the future because it's all about what are we building? What is the end game? What are we working towards? Remember, this Saggy energy where the sun is at is about the journey to the knowledge, the journey to the wisdom, the journey that we're always seeking and searching. But it is the journey itself and that process where we reach like the culmination, where we get to the point of, oh my God, have I arrived? I have so much knowledge now. Do we ever finally get to the point where we've learned so much and we feel so wise that we realize we have so much yet to learn, that we really don't know shit? That is the goal of Sagittarian energy, who is truly seeking and searching out the truth, regardless of political affiliations and religious beliefs. That is that high level Saggy energy. The big fixed square in the chart, yes, this full moon, this closure, this ending is being squared by the nodes. The north and the south node are both at 13 degrees. So it's almost as if whatever this ending is that requires some action, there's some stress and tension here. Because the north and the south node are saying, oh, hell no, it's not going to be that easy. So the square in the chart creates friction, stress, and tension. So for you watching at home, if you're playing along, if you've got your chart, you're looking for 13 degrees in the mutable signs. The mutable signs are the Virgo, the Pisces, the Gemini, and the Sagittarius. For an orb on this event, this big release and let go, we got something at 13 and something at 16 in the Gemini energy. We have, this is like a feminine version of Neptune here. You see this? And so we kind of, little dreamy, a little idealistic. And then at the opposite end, 13, we got a Vulcan at 12. So yeah, we're going to say the orb is going to be 2 degrees before, 2 degrees after, right? Because Aldebaran is also right there at 10 degrees. So actually, we'll say between 10, oh, we're going to say between 10 and 18 degrees. I just realized, yeah, this would be a thing for me because Rigel is right there at 17 and I got something at 18. So a release and an ending, communication style, the way I think, the way I talk, the way I communicate, the way I learn. The way I learn is a big one with Mercury and Gemini. Mercury is the ruler of this. So the way I learn, the way I share information, right? Am I sharing it and blurting it out just because I can't wait to blurt out what my thing is without actually listening, right? So there's something here we truly need to release, sense of self to the degree of the ego. Are we releasing the whole thing where it's about, okay, I'm letting you talk just so I can talk and get my turn finally, and then just not even take into consideration anything you just said. 28 with Uranian energy in Taurus, our values, our money. The public and the emotions of the public, though, with this full moon are here. 28 degrees is a moon degree. So the past comes up, right? And past values. And whenever we see Taurus energy, we can't think of that without thinking of the earth. And so we think of the farmers too and the land for sure. So for this full moon, it comes down to what are you releasing and the mind for sure. The way I think, but the way I communicate and the assertiveness and the actions that I may have taken based on the headlines, the thumbnails, and me being very impulsive and just like not even reading through something. May it be an end to the childish ways and the childish ways of in which we communicate in those styles that we might not have realized that, oh my God, I did that, I said that, and seeing that. I think that's important.